Hey Scorpios, and welcome to your May 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And this is a very defining time for you, Scorpio. I actually, moving into April and doing the April reading, didn't quite realize at the time how strong and potent this energy was for you. And I mean, of course it is. We had Jupiter in your sign and retrograde in your sign. And at that period of time, it hadn't quite hit me how strong that actually is and what that can actually mean. It's not really easy per se. It almost feels like the Jupiter retrograde energy has turned it into almost a Saturn energy because, Jupiter's opposite energy is Saturn and retrograde is kind of an oppositional type of energy. So it's almost as if you have a Saturn type of energy pushing into you right now. And there's a lot of things from the past coming back. There's a lot of integration to the future that has the transitional piece or bridge of the past. It's not so much necessarily people of the past coming back. It can be, but it's more past ways of thinking, ways of being, past patterns and cycles that you've gone through that are tempted in this time. I feel it's tempting to be a certain way or have a certain type of fear or anxiety complex that you've had in the past in response to certain stimulus. And there is a very strong test and structure this month, I feel, that begs you to be able to form a new way through using what worked from the past. So there's something really important here about using what works and not burning down all of your advantages. There's something about advantages not being utilized in Scorpio, which is very normal during a Jupiter transit because usually with Jupiter energy, it pulls in a lot of advantages and easiness. For example, if your home environment isn't quite working, it's very normal during Jupiter to have a completely new house or to, find a really good deal, perhaps inherit something that really changes your environment. But it feels as if Jupiter has gone retrograde and some of these experiences which Scorpio has generated to, be your get out of jail free card or to be your catalyst have maybe turned into something that you didn't expect or turned into something that's quite frightening. You have the Star, the Magician, and the Tower as your major arcana this month. And then you also have Pentacles, Wands, Cups energy. You have a little bit of everything, except swords, actually, which is interesting because Scorpio has been such a swords type of sign lately. So I'm proud of you for that. I feel like you have emotionally leveled up and the strength of your mind has evolved as well. So it feels like that's not too emphasized this month. So remember that if you're struggling with any kind of anxiety or any kind of paranoia, your mind is fine. Your mentality and honestly, your emotional strength is fine. It's just a matter of, I want to say passing the test, but what is that test and how can you know how to identify the test? I feel intuitively that the test is dealing with your abundance, what you've gained. So maybe the new job that you've gotten, the new money that you've saved or something. It's like a goal that you've been working to. There's an ambition, there's a purpose, there's a drive within Scorpio right now, very strong. And it feels as if it's been strong since Saturn and Sagittarius. So for about the last 2.5 years, there's been a purpose map for you that back then you realized was such a long-term goal. And there was no way you were going to accomplish it soon, so you started a very slow build-up. But now it's coming into May of 2018, it's getting more reachable, it's closer, and you're oh my gosh, this purpose, this ambition that I had is getting closer. Although it's not there yet, I feel that it comes much closer around November of 2018 for some of you. But for some of you, it could be summer, and some of you might even be onto it right now. It is part of a bigger picture, though. I can't really say that any Scorpios have done it or have seen the best of it right now, and it feels hard. It feels like you kind of want to be back in that space of just beginning because now you're almost to the top of the mountain in the way, and you have to start to regenerate new climbing experiences, and that can be hard for Scorpio because it's almost with all that you've gained or all that you've been able to put together, there's a want to take a vacation or a want to just go back into hermit mode and use this savings or use this new abundance to exist rather than thrive. So I would definitely look at existing rather than thriving. That's a big thing for you right now. And is this the right time? It is, and it kind of it is not the right time for that too. And that's what's hard about this Jupiter retrograde energy, because when it comes with the energy of Saturn, there is something that you have to be like working on and building up to and structuring in a very almost like a formal or outlined type of way. But with Jupiter energy, like when it goes direct, which is in July, so we've still got like 2.5 months depending on when you're listening to this. It's about that integration. That's a hard one though. That this whole decision about being basically like really active with your energy or more passive with your energy, because it demands both. But it feels like earlier this year in like January through March of 2018, or maybe even in April, it's like you might have spent a lot, whether that be like money or energy, and there is a need to pull back. You have Queen of Cups as your central theme, you know. You have the Star, which represents self-care, and the Magician reverse, which represents kind of like a drama or stress relating to like what people have, like the rabbits that people have pulled out of hats, or what realities other people might have put together for you. And of course you guys have the Tower, you know. It's so possible for this month to go so many different ways. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, though, that this month has to have some kind of contribution to the overarching goal, to that thing that you've been wanting to build up for like the last 2.5 years, or for some of you, even like the last decade. There's a long cycle there that Jupiter really blesses. It's like you need to contribute to the outline or contribute to the capital now, but I would wait until after Jupiter goes direct. So we're talking like July 10th-ish, I believe it is, around that period of time, so like mid-July basically, to really like start putting things into order, because we are still in Mercury retrograde as I'm filming this. It won't be during May. It will be done with that. But April really introduced a lot of cans of worms. I feel like for Scorpio, there's a lot of like Pandora's box type of energy, and even some health scares. It feels like for some of you, old health issues, or old like anxiety patterns that you may have had from the past that reemerged a bit in April. I feel for the most part it's gone in May, or whatever has caused it. So if you're like here, I feel like you're fine. But it's good to maybe do a bit of work, because when Jupiter goes retrograde, you kind of do have to look back at the health sometimes. Jupiter, especially in Scorpio, has a lot to do with like the hormones, the like all of the functionings of the body, and the movement, and cycles of the body as well. So those things can be a little bit retrograde, like backward flow of hormone or blood, or something that's unequal can definitely come about in Jupiter retrograde. Especially for those of you with like Moon in Scorpio, with Jupiter retrograding on your Moon in Scorpio, I feel it's most potent for you, because the Moon is also about these like cyclic aspects of health and hormones. So it would be a great time to have hormonal work done, or a great time to have, or at least have like tests, you know, work maybe and maybe not. But see how your body is functioning during this time, because this will basically be your body at its worst, honestly, hormonally, and even when it comes to emotional health as well. I mean, there is a chemical aspect to that, of course, but this is you at your worst. So pay attention. And April more so, actually. So kind of look back to April. I feel like May is a little bit better, but depending on how you've coped, it can be a cycle that lasts until Jupiter goes direct, or it can kind of subside. But for what needs to be done, like the nutritional deficiencies that need to be faced, the medical work that you've needed to have done, do it now while Jupiter's retrograde. Like, I would definitely urge you to not wait until Jupiter is direct to really look at things which are inevitably kind of going out of function, because again, you need to be on your game. You need to be on your game and ready to face life, not having many issues by about mid-July at the latest. And for some of you, you could even see that this month brings up almost like a congruent or parallel choice from about the 2014 to 2015 time period. And it's not the same type of past energy, or for some of you, it could even stretch back to like the Saturn transit before that, like 1984, 85 time period. It's one of these Saturn and Scorpio time periods. You could see that a parallel choice comes up. Different people, different surroundings, but parallel energy. It's important to make the right choice for you this time and really get deep with that. Like, because I can't really define that. It will be specific for everyone, but see the parallels, see the congruency, and make the right choice this time. The right choice for you, not the right choice for other people, but the right choice. Watch out for testing yourself. Watch out for pushing your limits too hard, not so supported. Anyway, Scorpios, I'm going to go ahead and get into your week to week to see more clearly what's coming forward. Week number 1, 8 of Wands, rooted down by the star. This is beautiful. I mean, this is wonderful. The rest of the month is testing some of this incredible foundation that you have built. But the first week is definitely a gift from the universe. It feels like windfall, more money, more benevolence, recognition. I feel this to be recognition or outlines of recognition, how you're going to be recognized in the future. Building of persona, building of image, building of projection. Make sure there's content there, though. I feel like there's a want to conform to a certain type of image or projection that might not be that authentic or might not be who you are. Like, to me, it feels like a lot of makeup, or it feels like a lot of lighting, a lot of basically capital to project a certain image. Beware of this. This doesn't always look very good on Scorpio. It's kind of like a Leo type of prospect, and like a Libra Taurus type of prospect as well. And Scorpio does it works well on Scorpio during certain moons or during certain cycles, but not permanently. So make sure that whatever image or persona you're trying to generate builds up to what you want and who you are, and it's not like for other people. I mean, that's the danger with it. I mean, you can look great, you can look wonderful to yourself and others. It's just a matter of whether it's for yourself or for others. To me, this does feel like needing to be recognized for the sake of other people. It's like maybe somebody from your past who gave you a very difficult situation, had no faith in you, had no confidence, didn't feel that you could have any type of platform or any type of success. And this may have been a reason why the relationship fell through or something. And now it's like, I want to have platform and success regardless of by what means, so that I can like prove myself. It feels a bit egoic. For some of you, not for all of you, that is not the case for everyone. But definitely check how the ego plays into the image and the projection, how you being the star deals with your abundance, and are they connected? Does you being like in front and center stage inhibit how you are thriving as a person? Think about that this week. This is also where I sort of saw, like I was mentioning in the beginning of the reading, like knowing where your advantages are. 8 of Wands is incredible energy, but it can be a little bit small sometimes. It can be very obvious, very bright, but sometimes people can see like that, you know, all those wands flying in at you and like be turned the other way, and they just kind of like bypass. Things can bypass very easily. So the right decisions at the right moment. So sleeping enough, making sure that you're eating right so that your mind is attuned to realize when things are coming in and to be able to make snap decisions and realize that, okay, this is an abundance and I need to embrace it. Because it feels like very easy to like be caught in like that loading screen in that like in like your brain, like it's almost like your phone is booting up or something, and you're like, do I need it? Do I not want it? Like indecisiveness, and it passes by. Watch out for things passing by, and you kind of have to spend some time with yourself and think about what is a benevolence for me, what is an abundance for me, and so that you know and don't spend a lot of time in that indecisiveness while it's there like in front of you, okay? Second week, 7 of Wands, rooted down by 8 of Pentacles. Hard work. This is a great week, I feel, to be doing the elbow grease of the book or the new business or the accounting, whatever it is that needs to be done. Like, I feel like all Scorpios have something that needs to be finished and completed that you've been wanting to do, actually, but it's needed to have like the right timing, and it's not always there, and you sit down and you have like writer's block in many different ways. This is a great week to build something great. And to maybe be a bit of a hermit, actually. 7 of Wands can sometimes be a lot of opposition, or sometimes be a lot of delegations or dialogues with many people. I feel you can step back from that and get to yourself, you know, like with 8 of Pentacles, where you're like forging something incredible and enjoying that process. Like, notice that 8 of Pentacles is alone, and technically 7 of Pentacles is too, but there's sort of this assumption that you know, there are people on the other end of those wands, like kind of opposing you in some way. Find your quiet space, find your muse energy within yourself, and I feel that this week is very rewarding to you with content, a great week to build content. Third week, the Magician reversed, rooted down by King of Cups. There's a masculine type of water energy around you that you can't quite define and can't quite trust in some type of way. that is worrying you a little bit. And it feels like this is very tied up into your abundance issue as well. It's like, do I risk my abundance to connect with these types of relationship possibilities? Do I make time for this when I have so much that I could be devoting my time to? And is that sacrifice of time to support this person or this relationship, which feels very wonderful, does that lose me something in the future? Or does the nurturing of this relationship or connection give me something even stronger? Because that can be the difficult thing about Jupiter transits. They give so much, but what's going to last is the question with Jupiter. It scatters candy, you know, and once it's gone, what do you have? It's great energy while it's there, but it lacks long-term sustainability. Unlike Saturn. This is the good thing about the Saturn transit. You will be able to find something during that time, like 2013 to 15, basically. You'll be able to find something there that's very long-term, tangible value, and it should be great to be able to form that with this Jupiter luck to where it's like you've already generated the long-term thing there, and now you can put the Jupiter luck onto that. Watch out for things that just fly to you out of nowhere now, because sometimes they'll be kind of like a boomerang. Like they'll fly in and they'll be like right in your perception for a second, and then they'll fly back out like around November. So it's hard to find long-lasting things right now. This is beautiful in some senses, especially if you need a lot of karmic turnover, like you've had a lot of difficult karmic situations, and now you need like a lot of experiences to you know, turn all of that over and to give you just like to air out your emotional constructs. But be careful of being too clingy. Don't find nothing in May. Find nothing in May that you have to have forever is important. Because I do sense that there's a bit of deception around you. I do sense there's a bit of people not wanting you to see certain sides of yourself in a way, but of them, and relying that you'll like trick yourself into not digging too far. And this is a funny thing with Scorpios, and why I see so many Scorpios that have like the difficult falling outs and the difficult divorces or breakups, because there's this weird thing of Scorpio attracting in people where they like know your power. They know your power to like dig into them or to dig into situations, but they almost rely on you not to do it. You know, they like rely on you to like trap yourself in that way. And I feel that this cycle can repeat here too. In a way, it's good to be single or in a long-term relationship that you know the cycles of. It's hard to kind of be in that in between, in the like, okay, well, I'm not single, but at the same time, it's kind of new and kind of not defined yet. To me, that feels very stressful to Scorpio right now. And most important is what you're generating in a purpose sense with your like career or endeavors. And also, perhaps even more important than that, especially during this Jupiter retrograde cycle, is the health, and having a good health to jump towards purpose and to then have nice relationships on top. Fourth week, 9 of Wands reversed, rooted down by the Tower. Okay, Scorpios, that's really the only major red flag that I see this month. I think the most important thing is that you think about the fourth week in advance and make sure that you have energy going into that period of time. So as you're moving through the first 3 weeks, like remember, okay, I'm building up to the fourth week. Good sleep, good eating habits, healthy cycles up until then, because something there is a bit shocking. Something there is a bit... it could be expected or even anticipated. Like some of you, for example, might have like a big business trip coming up then, or some kind of... you know that you're going to be working like major overtime hours during that time, or a family member might be having a surgery, something along those lines that's like out of the norm and takes a lot of energy to navigate. And it does feel like choices again. It sort of feels like, okay, I have this goal that I so want to accomplish, but I don't feel that I'm in a environment to where I can flourish and thrive enough to, you know, bring this into the world. But if I leave or I go somewhere else, it's going to take too much. It's almost like I feel like lose-lose situations, when in reality there is a very strong victory there. But you know, Scorpio, sometimes we can make win-win situations seem very problematic and stark. So definitely see how you can make this a win-win situation. It's very easy. And aside from the magician reverse perhaps being like a secretive person in your life, I really feel like a goal is to turn that upright and to really embrace your own magician energy and to be able to create a reality and situation that maybe isn't on either side of the ship that you kind of consider like so either problematic or so great. Like maybe find that great middle ground to where you are, you know, able to have both, because this is a Jupiter transit. Even though it's retrograde, like Scorpio can have both, can have like the nice home and the nice career, or have the nice relationship and the nice health or mental state and condition. I know it sounds crazy, but you can truly have it all, Scorpio, through what you face from the past here. Make it to July. Make it to July with your same type of constructs and same type of goals, and see what type of embrace you get from the universe at that period of time. You know, enjoy this May once you're out of Mercury retrograde. Really allow your mind to start working strongly again. Queen of Cups is your central theme. Overall, you're coming more into yourself. So I think that there's this feeling like, okay, I've got to get out of myself. I've got to get out of my head. I've got to move forward. I've got to progress. This is actually a regressive month, Scorpios. It really is. This is a month of going within and moving towards yourself. Not so much a month of crazy, lavish new experiences. And that's another thing about this Jupiter retrograde experience. A lot of you might have a thought, okay, I'm going to be on this side of the world, and then I'm going to like release this album, or I'm going to release this book, and I'm going to have this relationship and move to this house, like all these really life-defining lavish moments, and it is a part of Jupiter energy. But with the retrograde, unless you've had it stacked up for a long time, it can feel destabilizing to have a lot of shifts and a lot of changes and a lot of transformations. Jupiter retrograde, I feel that Jupiter retrograde, because just normal Jupiter in Scorpio, I feel like it really expands your transformative capabilities. But it would make sense that when it's retrograde, that it might actually constrict transformative abilities just a little bit. Not in the way that Saturn did, because I feel that the Saturn energy was actually quite transformative in a roundabout way. This is almost just more of a bind. I want to feel like it's like a binding energy through which you gain the muscles to transform even more seamlessly. Kind of like, you know, for those of you who like work out, you use those like bands, you know, like if you're lifting weights or doing like a range of motion, and you use the bands to give yourself pressure, and once you're done, like it becomes so much easier, you know, like your muscles like used to have the pressure on them, and now doing like normal actions becomes so much easier. That's sort of what this feels like to me. Jupiter retrograde feels like a binding type of band energy that is like pressure right now, but in the long run gives you a lot more dexterity and resolve. So anyway, Scorpios, yes, May is a testing month. There are a lot of choices to make, lots of right choices to make. You know, you are redefining these easy situations, redefining regrets, and overall, think about your health. Contribute to the big goal that you've had for a long time that's so important. Try not to choke on a lot of situations. Don't hold things. Like if you're like, you know, tasting a lot of experiences of life, don't choke on those situations. Really allow passage and allow yourself to have turnover. You're so empowered this month through these navigations that you do. Anyway, Scorpios, I really hope that this reading was wonderful for you. If you would like to book a private reading with me, you can click the center of your screen. Also, you can check the playlist to see your year ahead video, and you can also subscribe to my channel on this page as well. Your likes, subscribes, and comments make my day. It's so helpful. Please like this video if you get the opportunity, and check the description box. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Patreon if you would like to check out my monthly email newsletters. Much love, and we'll talk soon. Bye.